she feels trapped, like she doesn't have her freedom anymore.
Out-of-order elevators leaving residents at this high-rise with only stairs to get up and down.
She made it up to the 10th floor before she couldn't do it anymore.
Tonight, one woman is taking legal action after falling as she climbed to the 14th floor.
Plus, new developments surrounding Demaryius Thomas.
He was diagnosed with CTE stage 2.
The late Broncos legend diagnosed with a degenerative brain disease.
He would shake so much like he couldn't breathe, you know.
Tonight, we're taking a closer look at CTE and efforts in Colorado to help protect athletes from the condition.
This is a piece of the puzzle, and it's been a missing piece of the puzzle for a while.
Colorado wrestlers qualify for one of the sport's biggest events, but they need some help getting there.
I told them, hey, it's pretty expensive.
What you can do tonight to help send them on their way to Fargo.
Concerns inside a 15-story apartment building near Jewel and South Federal in Denver. We first told you about issues at Columbine Towers on Saturday.
That high-rise has been without a working elevator for more than 2 weeks now, leaving residents with only the stairs to get up and down. And now one woman is suing after she says she fell on those stairs while carrying groceries to her 14th floor apartment.
Today, she talked with Denver 7's Rob Harris at her apartment, a place where she says she feels trapped.
Yeah, so her name is Antonia Caballero. She is 79 years old, and she lives on the 14th floor of the building. She says at her age, she shouldn't have to climb that many flights of stairs. And Sunday, she experienced what many in her building have been worried about for more than 2 weeks, a fall that left her seriously hurt. It was around 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon that Antonia Caballero says she returned to her home at Columbine Towers with groceries and started the climb to her 14th floor apartment.
She made it up to the 10th floor before she couldn't do it anymore. She fell down, she hit her head on the right side and lost consciousness, came back to when her neighbors were putting ice around her neck and water on her head. And she doesn't quite remember a lot of details on the way to the hospital.
Caballero's granddaughter, Tiffany Ward Esteras, joined us to help share her grandmother's story. She says she's very worried for her grandmother's health and safety.
I'm absolutely terrified that if security isn't upped and damages aren't fixed, that not only my grandma, but other people are going to be losing their loved ones.
Management of Columbine Towers told us Friday it had instructed its 24-hour security guards to help residents up and down the stairs. And a few residents we spoke to this weekend confirmed they have been helped in this way. But Caballero says Sunday afternoon, when she got back to the lobby from the grocery store, she was denied help.
No, that's not the truth. It's something they said, but they weren't honest about it. The day that she fell on the stairs, there were 2 security guards downstairs, and when she had mentioned to them that she needed help, they told her that it wasn't their job to help with bags or to assist, that they were there to take down names.
I reached out to property management and was told they had not received any reports of this incident yet, but that they take it seriously and will, quote, immediately commence diligent efforts to determine what in fact occurred and take appropriate action.
She's terrified. She feels like a prisoner in her own home.
Caballero now has an attorney representing her who tells us he plans to file a lawsuit in federal court in the coming days for violating the Fair Housing Act, which protects individuals living in government-subsidized housing. Late last week, management blamed supply chain issues for the slow repairs on the elevators, but said they should be fixed by this Friday. So we will follow up on that. Ann?
We will count on you to do so. Thank you, Rob. The man accused of carrying out the mass shooting at a 4th of July parade near Chicago is now charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder, and more charges may come. The death toll growing today as a 7th victim died, with more than 30 others injured. Investigators say 21-year-old Robert Cremo fired at least 70 rounds from a rooftop in Highland Park during the city's 4th of July parade Monday morning. And after the shooting, these pictures show him dressed as a woman, trying to blend in with the crowd and to hide the distinctive tattoos on his face. Investigators believe he'd been planning the attack for several weeks.
He brought a high-powered rifle to this parade. He accessed the roof of a business via a fire escape ladder and began opening fire on the innocent Independence Day celebration goers.
And we learned today police had been to his home in 2019 and took 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword, and that he had attempted suicide that same year. Police also say the guns used in the shooting had been legally purchased.
New developments in the death of former Broncos receiver Demaryius Thomas. Doctors at Boston University today announced Thomas had CTE, a degenerative brain disease linked to repeated blows to the head. Thomas was found dead at his home in Georgia last December. He was just 33 years old. Experts say CTE does not cause death, but changes behavior and personality. Family members say Thomas struggled with conditions associated with CTE, including memory loss, paranoia, and erratic behavior.
He was paranoid like all the time, but memory loss, I saw that as well. Every single day he complained about having a headache.
His mood would change, and he would also isolate himself sometimes. Yeah. He was like, "Mom, I don't know what's going on with my body. You know, I got to get myself together." And he said, "I don't feel like myself anymore."
A cause for Thomas's death has not been announced. Thomas joins a list of more than 300 former NFL players to have been diagnosed with CTE.
And one of the difficulties with learning more about CTE is that it can't be diagnosed until after a person has died. And while symptoms like depression and anxiety can be treated, former Bronco Nate Jackson says he wants to see more done. He says far too often players hide their injuries so they don't lose playing time.
If I have a hit that kind of makes me woozy, I'm not going to say anything because that's going to put me in concussion protocol. I'll get put in this kind of political process. Someone else is going to replace me. And if he plays better than I do, I'll never see the field again.
And while research into CTE and helmet technology continues, Jackson says he would like to see players be treated like humans and not just athletes. And conditions like CTE have brought the issue of head safety in sports to the forefront, and not just at the pro or college levels.
Tonight, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne shows us how a Colorado nonprofit is pushing to make brain scans a requirement at the high school level.
At the height of his career, Jake Pates was literally on top of the world.
It was a wild ride, but it was a really good one.
The professional snowboarder from Boulder even made it to the finals.
You know he's fired up. Double Michael Chuck.
In the Winter Olympics.
2018. Front side 1080 now.
Pyeongchang, South Korea.
Then in 2020, he suffered a nearly career-ending concussion.
It was very risky to be out there. I ended up actually just landing hard, not even falling, and experienced, increased symptoms.
That hard reality set this 23-year-old on a mission, a new passion, off the slopes.
A project that's near and dear to my heart because of my experience with head injuries.
This is the future. Different colors because it's supposed to be user-friendly.
In conjunction with Wavico all-in-one brain scans, Jake's nonprofit called Happy Healthy Brain Foundation has a lofty goal: simple brain scans as part of high school physicals for every athlete in the nation participating in high-risk contact sports.
They do your height, they do your weight, they do your blood pressure, but there's no measurement for the brain. So our test is quick, simple.
That's founder of Wavico, Dr. David Oakley.
Should measure your brain every year.
The device is small and sleek, much less intimidating than many perceptions we have of brain scans.
We invented something that people want to put on. One of our partners, he invented the Croc shoes, and you just put it on, close your eyes, and that's it. It's simple. A lot of football teams, they'll do it in the locker room.
The idea is to get a baseline reading of your brain before the season, so if a head injury occurs in a game or practice, a doctor can do a subsequent scan and compare pre- and post-injury, helping to diagnose and treat concussions and other head injuries.
A comparison to show if there's any deficits, and then you can use these tests to help return to play safely, to say, okay, you're back to your baseline. Now we know the concussion's resolved, you can get back to activity.
Dr. Travis Lauder at Health One's Care Now Urgent Care is not affiliated with Wavico, but believes there is a great deal of promise in technology like this.
Would be high school athletes that are in high-impact sports such as ice hockey, football, soccer, wrestling, gymnastics. And I think it is valuable to get baseline testing in those patients.
Because, he says, every patient's brain is different.
It's really difficult to predict what symptoms you're going to have or how long they'll last.
This scan is also much less subjective than the common sideline SCAT-5 or sport concussion assessment tool used to gauge a player's injuries.
Sometimes people are honest and sometimes they're not, and that's really where the value in these objective measurements like the scans lies.
Lauder says it's still somewhat common for players and even parents and coaches to downplay those pen-to-paper tests.
There are absolutely still a subset of patients and parents and coaches that are minimizing their symptoms to get back to play sooner.
Sure.
Pates says he did it.
I've done that so many times. Lying to the physician that was at the event where I was at a World Cup. I told them I wanted to get back in early.
Severe concussions or returning too early can also lead to second impact syndrome, increasing the possibility of long-term damage.
We know that there can be long-term consequences for kids if we get them back to activity too soon, can increase the risk of psychiatric illness, specifically depression.
Dr. Oakley says now's the time, and it's about education.
The trick is to get parents on board with the baselining. That's the hard part. They got to do something, whether it's this technology or something else.
Pates says it's a no-brainer.
And the only thing we're trying to do is help.
A career-extending and, in his opinion, perhaps even life-saving technology.
This is a piece of the puzzle, and it's been a missing piece of the puzzle for a while.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Fascinating. And team sports at CU Boulder, they're on the verge of changing with the future of the Pac-12 conference now in question. It appears CU leaders may be considering their options.
Tonight, the CU Board of Regents held a special meeting behind closed doors. The only item on the agenda, quote, legal advice on a specific matter, Pac-12 athletics update. So tonight, we're waiting for word on what came out of this meeting.
And speculation over the Pac-12's future erupted last week when longtime members USC and UCLA accepted invitations to join the Big Ten starting in 2024. Should CU leave for another conference, one option could be the Big 12. According to reports, CU is one of several schools that conference is interested in adding.
A lot of action on the radar today. There'll be even more coming up tomorrow.
It's one of the biggest stages in high school wrestling.
It gave me another motivator to continue to push myself even further.
Tonight, how you can help get these Colorado wrestlers to the Nationals in Fargo. Plus, the Avs bring back one of their key contributors from their run to the Stanley Cup.